Hey guys, Jameson9532 here. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we are going to be constructing a boat. Yes, a tugboat. Yes. I know, different. I just rewatched the entire series of Tugs, 13 episodes. I guess it sounds a lot more impressive than it actually is. But anyway, so we are going to be building one. As you can see, I've already kind of started. So to catch you up, you will need masking tape, or any kind of tape really. Not scotch, but yeah, any kind of tape really works, or glue, but you got to be more careful with glue. So you will need tape or glue, a pen or pencil, and a set of scissors. These old ones I have are kind of worn out, so I'm going to use my big industrial scissors. Okay? Okay. So, to get you up to speed on what I did, I drew out a shape for the side of the hull and the bottom of the hull. The bottom of the hull, I just kind of looked at an image and kind of sketched the shape I thought it was. Yeah. And then the side, I did the exact same thing. But this will vary from tug to tug. The tug that I'm doing, Warrior, he kind of has a really large gradual curve. But, yeah. So I just kind of went halfway and then curved it up from there. Yeah. And then I just took some masking tape, taped the side of it. To be clear, the side of the hull is not next to the bottom, it is on top of the bottom. Yeah. I just went one piece of tape, stick it to the side and to the bottom. Fold it. So it gets a nice smooth edge. So yeah, I will do that to the other side. Right about now. Oh, just here. We're clear. This tug is in Trackmaster scale. Yeah. Which I just went 12 inches long. If you're wondering, the Trackmaster Thomas is 4.5 inches long. But I went 12 inches long, and I'm not sure how high. I didn't measure that part out properly. But I went 12 inches long. Then you can just kind of eyeball the rest of it. So yeah, I'll go do the other side of it right about now. Okay, and I am back. So, as you can see, the other side has been taped on. But, I did do something else to the back. This was very hard to do, and I was never going to film it, so yeah. As you can see, the back is slanted. Slanted and then straight down. Well, I did that by cutting out two little triangle pieces, or a little triangle piece in the back here. And then, I forced them together, and then I taped them. This took so many pieces of tape. So, yeah. Then, yeah, on the bottom, I guess. The shape of it, from the front at least, or from the sides, is totally done. The front, however, has not been taped together, so let's do that. You will get little glimpses of this kind of thing, where I'll tape it together in front of you guys. Hold on, sorry. I never do stuff like this because the camera is always in the way, and I am a very visual person, so it's hard for me to kind of tape something when something's like right in front of my face. I'm not sure if you saw that. Do another piece just to be safe. Can never be too safe when connecting two pieces of anything together. Unless you don't want them permanent, of course. I'm trying to get it right between the rib there. Okay. Let's do that. Come on. There we go. You just fold it. Or press it, or so it looks something like that. Okay, yeah, that's about it. That is the shape of it. However, we are going to want to put the rest of it together. Like, see how we see all the corrugation on top? I cut it the wrong way. That's why you see all these little wrinkles and stuff. Well, we're gonna fix that. Okay? So, I'm gonna do that by taking little pieces of tape, something like this. Make sure it's not totally wrinkled. Put it here, fold it over, make sure it's flat, and then fold it in. Like that. See? Much better. Makes it all smooth on top. Yes, I will do that as soon as... No, I think... Yeah, we can do it right now. Okay, I will be right back after that. I have returned. I did... Spider. Okay, sorry. Spider. So, as you can see, the tops have been taped. Except for the front. Because I did want to do a special note about this. The tape at the front will kind of get this wrinkle effect a lot. Because it's a corner, unlike the back, which is more of a curve. Yeah. So I did want to do this. Here's a tip I find helps. Take your trusty scissors. Cut the tape. You want to be careful not to cut them. Hold on. Sorry. Just cut it like that. So it is in half. So you can fold this piece over. Then you fold the other piece over. That helps a lot, especially in this instance. So it doesn't get such a wrinkle effect. Yeah, see? The front. Another thing I did want to mention, if it is a little bit like curved out like that or in bumps, the good thing about using this masking tape is folding it. You can bend it back into shape how you want it. The back part, you don't need to do too much to it, but yeah. I do want to do a demonstration piece, just so you kind of get what I'm doing here. Because I made a few mistakes in it myself. So I am taping the side with a little bit up top here, right? Pretty basic. Okay. Then you're going to fold it over like this. Okay? And you want to run your finger across the top here and then fold it down. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, the next step for building our little hull here, you're going to want to take some flat cardboard. You're going to want to cut it out and do a strip. If it has little creases in it, you could cut it out. I don't personally mind them, since we're just going to be covering it up anyway. With paint and all that junk, so you won't be able to see everything. So, maybe we'll cover it up with a layer of clear tape later. I'm not quite sure. So, yeah, you just want to cut it out so it kind of... so we can lay it over the normal cardboard area. I don't know what you want to call it, the normal cardboard texture. Yeah. So it kind of covers it up there. If it does have these little tab thingies here, you are going to want to take those off, cut it off. Yeah. I just use protein boxes and pizza rolls, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. Okay, I am back. I just did the outside of the hull here. As you can see, looks much smoother. Something I didn't mention, or that I later found out rather, these are going to be covered up really easy by masking tape. So if I were to just take a piece here, yeah, come on, cover it up. There we go. See? Can't even see the seam. You can see the little bit of a wrinkle, but that's not a part of the box. So, yeah. So, as long as you keep these kind of flaps on the end, as long as they're not connected to another one, they're good. Because if you remove them from another one, they become all furry on the ends. So, yeah. Now, what we need to do is the exact same thing as we did before. Yes. We need to do a little folding around the edges up here, so it all looks like one piece. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I've returned. As you can see, I've done the exact same thing as before. Now you're probably thinking, well, didn't you just ruin the smoothness with the masking tape covering? No, I did not. Well, you might be wondering, well, why does it look not smooth? Well, it is smooth. For one, I just folded it over, made sure it was smoothly put on, so it doesn't feel any different. Well, it does, texturally, but who's actually going to feel this? This feels the exact same. It doesn't feel like two different surfaces. It feels two different surfaces bonded together. There we go. Because that's exactly what it was. Two different surfaces bonded together. Yeah. That is the hull. Now I believe is the keel. Yeah. We'll work on that next. Okay, so if you don't know what the keel is, right in the front here, there's a straight section that's kind of like a box. Kind of points out, just kind of like this. You don't have to include it, but I'm gonna, because it's simple to do and kind of a big feature, so. Also, I'm noticing right now, my point here is not on center with the rest of it, but that's okay. So, how am I going to do the keel, you might be asking? I'm going to use another piece like this. You can see this is longer. How it would fold if I bent it this way. Well, that's basically what we're going to use here. We're going to use this feature of the cardboard. Just kind of fold it up into small rectangle so it fits right here. Don't make it too big, just I'll show you when I'm completing it. So I'm gonna do that and then I will explain it. Okay, be back. Okay, we are back with the keel completed and attached. I wasn't gonna film the attaching of the keel because, well, just do strips around the side. I didn't think it needed to be explained. You all seem smart enough. But basically, what I did was I cut out a square, like double this. So like this, kind of about this big. But it's folded. So, I guess double this size. Then, I realized it was way too big. And I cut it in half. But I taped it all together first. So originally this was my keel. Yeah, no, too big. So I cut it in half, got rid of this piece, and taped it on with just strips around it. You do kind of want to wrap it, so it kind of hides all the corrugation and the cardboardy texture. Yeah, you will also be correcting tape easy. All this entire process. So, yeah. Just firmly taped it on, he says, as he corrects his tape. Yeah. It was a little rough on the top. Yeah. I need to go back and do some fixing because, as you can see, the keel is pointing off to the side. We don't want that. We want that kind of straightened out. See if I can just flex it. Ooh, boom, there we go. Perfect. Not exactly, actually. Better. Keep in mind, I am doing this all along with you guys. And this is my first model, so yeah. This is my first attempt. Probably do a second attempt, but yeah, that's the keel. So, yep, that's about it. Next is the deck. Yes, deck. So, yeah, I'll show you what I got for that. So, for the deck, you will need a few pieces of cardboard, like that, small boxes, right? You get what I'm saying here. And they will need to be almost as tall. So this size, it's good here. Yeah, this would be a good size for doing that. But you do want to get the corrugation, so it's flexing. Yeah, this way is fine, I think. No, so it's like this. So this corrugated part here is up, because this is stronger than this. Yeah. And you will also want to make a few of these. These are just rolls of cardboard that I just taped together extremely. I did one around the outside and then a few in the middle here. Yeah. Now, if you've seen Lemmy's video, you know that he used these, just 1, 2, 3, for the deck. I do like that, but I don't like the idea of just using 3 in the center, because the sides and tape, if you haven't noticed, isn't exactly the strongest thing in the world. Yeah. So that's why we're using these. You're going to cut it and kind of make like a skeleton around the outside here and in between these things. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Taller one. I'll show you how to make that one. And then you're also going to kind of make a skeleton out of this. Or like right about here. And then across. Between these. I'm not sure that made sense, so I'm just going to do it and I'll show you. Okay, I have returned with the skeleton structure on the inside. With this first part of the deck here. Well, does this make more sense? I feel like it does. You kind of want to have these parts here, so the deck does have something to rest on the side. This part here is just in between supports. We'll probably just have 3 of these, like the circles here. And then normally, I would tape the circle on the inside. Yeah, that's what I would do. Probably am. But I do want to show you something. This is our deck stand-in. This, as you can see, not moving very much compared to the circle here. Yeah. So you can do the skeleton. It's not a major thing. You don't have to, but you could. And I'm probably not going to do any more of these. This was just another concept. And this is kind of like a Mark 1 tug, so yeah. I will do the rest of that supports for the deck, and then I will come back and talk to you. Okay? Be back in a second. Okay, we're back. So, I've put another circle in. You might be wondering why I didn't do this. Is because, well, it's a lot of work for little reward. Sure, you have more sturdiness to the deck, but these work just fine. So, yeah. So, I made another one of the circles. Then I made the big one that goes in the front here. You might be wondering, well, how'd you do that? Well, I'll tell you. So, I took a piece of cardboard. Well, first I should tell you about this one. And then I should tell you about this one. But this one here was the original. Smaller, definitely. The angle, however, is less sharp, as you can see. There's the boat. It's not as sharp. So, yeah. This one was something I cut just because to replace this. But this was smaller than this, so there was no way this was happening. But then I made this one, and this one's much bigger. I made sure it matched, at least attempted to match the curve of the boat. So, yeah. This is really simple. Just make a ring out of cardboard, put tape on it. The tape doesn't have to be perfect. It could be messy because we're never going to see this again because the deck's going on. We might see this again just when we remove the deck to paint it. So yeah, I'm going to tape that down real quick. I've proceeded to tape that big one down. If you're wondering how you tape them down, just attach a strip of tape to the side and push it against it. Yeah. So now you might be wondering, well, you got the supports done, how are we going to do the deck? Well, you're going to take a flimsy piece of cardboard. One of these. That noise is satisfying. So anyway, the shape of the boat is basically the shape of the deck too. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a piece of cardboard, okay, and we're gonna basically put the boat on top and trace it. Yeah. This might be a little difficult because often snack boxes aren't that size. So cereal box would be nice right about now. But if you don't, that's fine. You can make it in parts. I'm not sure. I don't have that big of a piece of flimsy cardboard, but I do have, if you don't have flimsy cardboard, you can also use stuff like poster board paper. Yeah, I'm going to use a chunk of that. But basically, so I don't have to explain it to you, you're going to trace your boat out on your cardboard and or your poster paper or whatever you choose that has the same kind of texture or flimsiness. And you're basically just going to cut inside the lines. You can measure the width of your boat, but I would just kind of cut inside the lines, or cut on the lines, and then put it over the top of it, and then attempt to kind of trace the width. Another line. I'll probably explain it once I have the deck done, so I'll explain it better then. Give me a second. I haven't put on my deck yet, but I basically put the boat on, traced it with my pen, and then kind of up here, just scribbled out the keel. Yeah. Now I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so I've cut out my deck, and as you can see, a little too big. Yeah. We need this to be smaller so it can fit inside of here. Now, I'm still trying to figure out a good way to do this. You could just randomly trim, but then the shape's going to be less and less accurate the more you do that. You could, see if I can hold this off here. I got a pen cap in my mouth. You could, theoretically, put it here. No, don't do that. Yeah. As you know, the width here is wider than, or would make the deck space here thinner than the outside, which is what we traced. So, if you didn't get that, the width of the boat would make the deck thinner than the outside of what we traced. You probably already knew that because y'all smart people. But, here, we're going to measure this out just for giggles, I suppose. Wow, it is so small it cannot be measured. Legitimately, there's no measurement for this. I mean, you can try to measure it, but I don't know how well it's going to work for you. 1/8 of an inch. Maybe. So maybe cut like 1/8 inch in all around. That seems really inefficient. Hold on. I'm figuring this out with you guys. 1/4 of an inch. There we go. That's better. It's more accurate. So you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is probably looking like this, and then kind of hold it up to where it would be if it were underneath, and then just kind of guesstimate right about there, and then just cut like that much in. I don't know. So I'm gonna give that a shot. You do probably want multiple big sheets like that in case you screw up, so I have a few more. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll get back to you with my result. Okay, so, as you can see, progress has been made. I know, shocker. 1/4 inch was pretty accurate. As you can see, the front fits in perfectly, almost. There's a few little spots, but that can be filled, and will be filled when we cover it with tape to kind of keep the deck up. Yeah. But as you can see, this back end here isn't so perfect. And why? That is because we made the little dip here. So we're going to need to, what I'm going to do, hopefully live here on camera, going to trace it. Trace it the outside, basically guesstimate the inner part there. So we're gonna take it. That's about 1/4 inch, I think, and then we're gonna try to be as accurate as possible when cutting it. Because the more accurate your deck is to what the outside is, the better your deck will fit. And the better your deck will fit, the better the rest of the model turns out. But hey, look at that. Fits pretty good. Little loose, but that's an easy fix. And we will fix that once we put down the tape for it. Which I see if I can show you on camera. I'm on a roll right at the moment. So, basically, how we're going to do this, we're going to take a piece of tape, like everything else we've done. Make sure, if your deck is a little, like, unbalanced, just don't press on it too much, right? So you're just going to put it up, and then you're going to fold it over like that. That's how we're going to apply the tape here. Yeah, don't press on it too much when putting the tape on, because then it kind of gets it loose like that piece was. So I'm going to do it again, or at least halfway between them. Yeah, so we get nice smooth edges like that. If they're not perfectly smooth, that's fine. If you want to be all professional and stuff, you can go back with like some putty to fix it, I suppose. But I'm not going to do that. I might do this. I might do it for future models, but this is only my first one, just kind of like a test course. So I'm hoping you guys, if you guys come up with like any problems in my explaining, please do let me know. I'm trying to work on public speaking, and this is kind of a big part of public speaking, but it's public speaking about what I love, so it's a little easier. But yeah, my explanations can sometimes make no sense. You don't want to make your tape too long. You just kind of want to have it like this size is good. So then you can just tape it, fold it in, and over. With that last piece of tape, I had to tape it over the back here. Yeah, that's taping it. I guess I can continue to do this and just talk. I'm not on a live stream. I should be doing this on a live stream. But, parts videos. I might release this in parts. I might release this in a full video. If you want me to release it in, if this is released in full video and you want me to release it in parts, I might. If somebody requests it or cares enough, even. If this video is like over an hour, yeah, definitely. If it's like not even 30 minutes or like 45 even, I will keep it in a full video. This will be the longest video I've done, probably. I don't know. I haven't done a lot. As parts, and then I'll touch more on specific details with X-Tug, and depending on who's next. If this goes smoothly, I might just make Big Mac for the parts, and then I'll probably might do specific videos for specific tugs on specific features they have, like Sunshine. If I ever do him, I'll probably do a video on him. Just because of he's so small and everything. If you get a wrinkle in the outside tape, I'm sorry. You just have to tape over that. You don't want to press too hard on the wrinkle. But, and if you're wondering, don't the covering up the wrinkles with tape just make the wrinkles more emphasized? No. They do kind of cause a little bit of cornering. You know what I mean by that, where it kind of has corners. But I'd rather have cornering than wrinkles, purely because cornering looks like it's supposed to be a part of the shape, and wrinkles just look ugly. Yeah. So there we go, that is the deck. Pretty sick, right? You do want to make sure that both sides of the deck are even and that you get the ring or the structure centered. Because you might get a big side here little side here. So, yeah. It looks like they're off on camera, but I swear to you, they're not. Put a pen on it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. So the next stop, what do you want to call it? The next thing we are going to work on will be the superstructure. And I will may or may not show you how to do that, depending on how it goes. Okay, see you in a bit. Guys, okay guys, so, as you notice, there's something different about, Warrior here. Well, that's because I remade him. You might be wondering, well, why'd you remake him? Because the old Warrior was simply too big. It was too boxy. I wasn't happy with the shape, and the deck would wobble. So, I fixed all that stuff. I like this shape a lot more. And I ran out of old masking tape, so I started to use painter's tape. But anyway, this is also different. I'm not going to be doing a Warrior. This is Hercules now. I used all the same methods for this, except this is wooden railway scale, which, if I remember, I'll put the Master of the Lemons wooden railway tug scaling right here. Okay. But yeah, and for Hercules I figured out 12 inches and... Hold on. And for Hercules I figured out 12 inches long is good for wooden railway scale, and 3.5 inches. Or almost a half. Somewhere around there. I'd round down to 3 though. So yeah, that's Hercules. I used all the same things, except instead of doing that box thing on the old model, I just took 2 corrugated strips of cardboard and cut them along so they'd fit the same size as the loop supports. And then I just taped them onto the loop supports and onto the side along the outside so it wouldn't wobble from either side. Now it is a very solid deck. Yeah. So that's the hull. And I even did the keel again. Yeah. So I'm going to start building the superstructure. Okay guys, I'm back. So as you can see, I did the superstructure. Basically what I did was took some more of this stuff, traced out the shape I wanted, then I traced out the shape I kind of wanted over here on the hull in the deck. So yeah, and then I totally forgot I was filming this, so I made the superstructure. I did a little hole, then I took some air dry clay, made a little piece. I know it looks weird, but it fits in there to kind of keep it on so I can remove it on and off. Then I took some tape and smoothed it out. I don't know, can you tell? Yeah, you can tell really easily. I'll fix that in a bit. So yeah, didn't do the top part. So yeah, that's the superstructure. But that's not all I did. I also did the wheelhouse, or the head. But it's very similar to the superstructure, and since I decided to do Hercules instead, all I did was trace this side out on another piece of cardboard. And then I just kind of built boxes. Then I took one of these pieces of cardboard with no corrugation. I took that and just kind of bent it, so it kind of made a circular shape. Yeah, and then I was just about to do the hat when I realized, oh crap. Yeah, so I just cut another piece of flimsy cardboard out like that to get that shape. I guess it kind of kills two birds with one stone, but yeah, and I also went and smoothed this out too. I'd say I'm very happy with this piece. I'm very happy with the project overall. Much better than I was expecting, honestly. Here, we'll just give a quick put together look on Hercules here. Yeah, this dude is massive, and the hull will be smoothed out probably next, just so it all kind of looks uniform, and then I can continue working on it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna continue with the superstructure. Next, we'll be smoothing out the top here and fixing that side. So yeah, I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, so real quick, I forgot something. I want to make the head spin. So, basically how you do that is you take some wire. You take some wire here. You know what? Hold on, let's see if I can do this on camera. Okay, just hooked it up to a tripod. So you take some wire. This isn't craft wire, it's Never Rust wire. Can't see it here. No? Okay. Never Rust. Yeah, so I just got this at Fleet Farm or your local hardware store. You cut out a small strip, like about here. It's good. Yeah. The wire back. And basically, what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to take the tip of your pliers or wire tool. I use needle nose pliers because you can get finer detail with the ends, and it comes with a little nail cutter, or not nail, wire cutter. So basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a tiny little piece, then you're just going to bend it right like that. Okay, just bend it. And you're going to do the exact same thing with the piece that you bent. So the piece you were originally holding on to is facing that way or whatever way. You're just going to bend it again. You're going to want to make it small so it's not super giant. Now you're just going to have the little square piece over here. And you're going to bend it. Oh, come on. You're going to bend the wire here. So as you can see, we have a little loop now. Now, that would actually be a pretty good thing. But this is a little bit more difficult. You're going to want to bend it in one last time. Hold on. Bend it in a little more than how you would normally. So now, instead of a loop, you have kind of a figure 8 shape. I don't know if you can see that, but like that. Yeah. And now, you're only going to take half of it. Then you're going to bend the long strip of wire up. So it looks something like this. Yeah. And basically, this is how the head's going to turn. You're going to put it so it's flat. So it can lay flat. It doesn't have to stand up or anything. But I do use the pliers just kind of to flatten it out a little. These pliers are also good because they have a little flat part instead of the textured bit up here. So now it is flat. The bottom part is. But the wire up here is still pointing pretty much straight up. The wire doesn't have to be perfectly straight or anything, but the straighter it is, the better. The more fluently your head will turn. You don't need a giant bit, but so I'd say like right about here. It's good. Maybe a little bit more right here. Just gonna cut that. Might take a little bit of wiggling to separate them. or just pulling. So now you have this. This part, it's useless now. You can throw it away or do whatever you want to do with it. You will need to do this trick again in a bit here, but yeah, you're going to make this piece. Before you smoothen out the superstructure, which is just, you know, basic, basically it's just how you did the deck, except you make the shape instead of going around the side. My superstructure is a little bit different from Master of the Lemons, because instead of doing a square like this, I just filled the entire bottom in and then cut a hole for the little brick to go into. So yeah. And I just cut a hole and it just slides on and off. With the front part, when doing taping it, there were bits where you had to cut multiple slits just to make little rectangles in the tape, and then you could just fold it over. And the rest of it you can cut off, but I'll talk more about that when I get to smoothing everything else. So basically, what you're going to want to do is you want to look at a video of Hercules, or even a picture, just to see where the center of rotation is, or whichever model you're doing. For Hercules, I've studied this before I started filming. His head is kind of turning at the back here, so it turns more like this instead of like this. And then you see the difference? Yeah. In case you're wondering, because I've wondered this too, Hercules, or us humans, have the exact same kind of, our heads pivot in the back. I just noticed that after I looked at Hercules thing. Hey, that's exactly how we do it. So, yeah, we'll get to doing the head modifications in a second here. But basically, what you're going to want to do is tape it down. So, just take a small strip of tape. Don't need a ton of tape to do this part, but unless it's being difficult, which it most likely will be. I mean, you can do the tape like this. I know that's not very good. Or you can do it like, hold on. Yeah. This. Basically all I did was just poke a hole with the long part through the bottom of the tape. Sticky side down, obviously. So you have just this part. And then you can just stick it on there, like that. Yeah. That tends to hold pretty well. There is one minor flaw with my, how I did the superstructure removal bit, is I kind of blocked the whole area off. So it's harder for you to push into the head, or into the wire bit without getting the boat deck crushed. Boat deck being this part on top of the superstructure. This is just the deck. Yeah. So it's solidly on top of there. It's very wrinkled, but we can smooth that over in a bit. I would recommend cutting off the extra. Or at least I'm going to. Like, you guys probably haven't smoothed everything over as I did, so I'm trying to keep the superstructure semi-smooth. So, yeah, I'm just going to tape that little hunk, or cut that little hunk off. A thing that's important with doing these models, you can't see it, but I'm cleaning off my scissors. Because the more masking tape there is on your scissors, the more likely that's going to cut in front of your, the piece of tape you're actually trying to cut. It's going to get stuck to the bottom, it'll make the tape non-sticky. So yeah, I like to clean off my scissors after a bit of cutting, especially when you're cutting smaller chunks. So yeah. There we go, much cleaner around the edges. So, yeah. And now we have this part here. The superstructure is pretty much done for its structural purposes. But the head is a very important detail. But it's also a good thing to have clay with you. Basically, we're going to fill in the head with clay. But we're not going to fill in the entire head. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to kind of fill in the back. Oh, crap. I realized I've made a mistake here, folks. So, instead of having the peg, you could call it, in the front, with my model, Hercules, it's going to have to be closer to the back here. I would measure this out yourself, just to kind of see where it sits. If you're doing Hercules, you're going to want to make it as far back as this little back bunker bit here. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, you're going to want it farther in the back. But that makes pushing in the pushing it into the cardboard a whole lot easier. So that's a win. So now you can kind of see, because Hercules' face is really close to the edge of his deck. His boat deck, for whatever reason. So as you can see, it kind of sits in the back there. I think I want it a little bit back, a little bit farther. I know it doesn't look like a ton, but these details are important. So, yeah, there's that. Now, we can put it kind of, that's a little too far back. After all this, if you keep moving it and unmoving it like me, sticking and unsticking, I'd kind of recommend putting another piece of tape over it. There we go. That's where I want it. So, this probably isn't as big of a problem with other tugs, because most of the tugs have their face kind of like right here, and it's right in the middle. But Hercules is weird because his wheelhouse is closer to the edge, and it's at the back. But now I'm noticing the peg is too tall, so I'm just going to cut off a little bit. And in the process of cutting it, the peg came off. So we're just going to retape it. That's no big deal. I'm just going to put a new piece of tape because I've stuck it and unstuck it so many times. It's not a hard thing to do. It's just poking the wire or whatever you use, paper clips, really. Whatever you want to use through the piece of tape. Now I'm going to lay the head down first. So we kind of want it right here. Yeah, it's a solid place. Okay. And then it's just the same process if you screw up. If it starts to become unsticky. Then you got to find your scissors, cut off the excess. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so now we have the peg installed. And we're going to want to take Hercules' head, just test it out again. Is the peg centered? That doesn't really matter. Kind of does, kind of doesn't. But I'm going to center it just because that'll bug me later if I don't center it. So, yours doesn't have to be centered, but I'd recommend it. So, yeah, there we go. As you can see, it's almost centered. Yeah, just where I want it. Now, on to the head modifications. You're going to want some air dry clay. I mean, you could do oven bake, but that's going to be a lot harder because you do not put cardboard in the oven because that will start a house fire. So, yeah. That's why I use air dry specifically for this, but also it's easier to go back and make modifications still. If you don't like it, with oven bake, you have to do a lot of sanding and cutting. So, yeah, we're not going to do that. So, Hercules has a very specific deck area, or not deck, wheelhouse. So, make it centered, just so we can see, once again, where the peg is. Okay. So, you're going to want to kind of do, if you're not doing Hercules, you kind of want to do the entire head. Hercules has a big head, that's because he's a big tug, but, yeah. So, I'm going to fill it to right about here. Just so the peg is completely surrounded by clay. But this is a simple process, just stuffing clay in the head. You can move that to make sure you don't wreck anything. Yeah, this will also add some weight to the head, so it probably will be easier to spin. Yeah, boom. Perfect. Doesn't have to be super smooth, but it's good enough here. And then I'm going to go wash my hands before I do anything else. Because the clay, 90% of the time, your hands will totally be, your tape will be non-sticky if you touch it. So, yeah, I'm going to go wash my hands. Be back in a second. Okay, we're back. So, yeah. Wash your hands after going to the bathroom, and no Corona necessary. I know, odd touch, but okay. So as you can see, I think I overloaded the top. Because before, this white part here was not showing. Come on, folks. Oh, there we go. It was covered with tape. Now, that's an easy fix most of the time. Just push it back in. It won't make a huge difference. Now you can't see it. Or you can see it a little bit, but that's not a big deal. Probably go over it with tape anyway, so yeah. Now you have your superstructure, your head. You're going to figure out how far do you want your head to stick out. I'm thinking right about here. Yeah. Now you're going to make sure you get your head centered. Head centered right about. Okay. You're going to move it back and look at it from the sides too. Ta-da! Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's good. I think I'm going to move it back just a little bit though. It probably will come with the clay. If you put a lot of clay in there, probably will come with it, but okay. So, problem with the peg. You're going to want to tape around it too. And make sure you can access the boat deck from underneath. Just makes pushing and manipulating the peg a whole lot easier than having to just not push too hard, which would make the peg unstable, which we want these to be structurally sound and look good. So yeah, I'd recommend leaving a way for you to reach the boat deck from the bottom. Then you're going to cut off the excess. This is a major trial and error part of the building process, just because you'll get stuff that's too much, you'll get stuff that's not enough, and then you'll also get stuff that just is perfect. And that's the stuff you want. And if you get the not enough or too little, you want to make it perfect, so you're going to go back and try again. So as you can see, got two holes. One of them, the top one, is a little too far, and not to mention that one's centered. The back one is a little too far back, and it's not centered. So what we're going to try to do is kind of get something between the two. So we're going to try and go right about there. I know you can't see it very well, but yeah, right about there. It's not too far forward, but it's not too far back. And I have a piece of tape stuck to my thumb. That will happen. You'll get tape stuck to your fingers way too much. So yeah, it's not as far forward, but it's not as far back as before. Now, if we carefully remove the head, we will see the hole. this middle hole here is the new one. I like that. So now, since you have that part done, we're going to let the head sit, probably overnight. You don't have to be overnight, but I do that just to be safe, because 90% of the time it's done by overnight. So, yeah, we're just going to leave this alone. Put it over here, off to the side. I know you can't see it, but it's not important. So, yeah, the superstructure. Yeah, you don't have to do anything else to that, just smoothing it out, really. Which, that will probably be the next step. Just so we kind of have the three main parts caught up. The mast and the stack will come in a little bit, but let's smooth these guys over just to be safe. Okay, I will do that and be right back. Okay, so I've changed my mind. I don't like that part. I am going to attempt to do this part on camera, just so you kind of guys get the overall gist of it. I'm pretty sure you do. It's not difficult. Just take some masking tape or painter's tape. Honestly, I've never used painter's tape as like a real tape. I've always just kind of used it as... Here, see if I can get it off to the side so I can... Okay. I've always just kind of used it as a work, tool. Never as like a actual... I don't know how to describe it, but a actual material, like a paint, like an essential material. I've never used it as an essential material. Okay, you guys cannot see a single thing that I'm doing. Okay, sorry. So I am going to attempt to do the other side. Let's move the measuring tape here. See if we can get you. Okay, there. Is that good? Okay, can you kind of see what I'm doing? Okay, I'm going to try this. Yeah. I've never used it as an essential material, like paint or hot glue. Which, if you're wondering, why are you using tape of all things, when you usually use hot glue? Well, Master of the Lemons did it, and I'm like, hey, he's smart. So, yeah, I'm just going to... This isn't exactly a first attempt at using tape as an essential material, but painter's tape, yes. I used to use tape all the time, making the most random crap, till I discovered hot glue, and then I'd use hot glue all the time to make the most random crap. So, yeah. And there we go. It's not perfect. See if I can make it perfect. And you might be wondering why you're mentioning Master of the Lemons so much. Well, that is because this is my test model for his series. So, yeah, I just figured this can kill two birds with one stone. I can get a really nice video out, and I can get my test model done for his series. Hopefully I'll be able to get in. So, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. And I attempted to fix the curves off screen. Okay, well, yeah. So you guys kind of get the gist of it, I think. That's something I also do, is just kind of measure it out, almost. Just kind of look at it before I rip it, because a waste of tape is not good. Because tape can be very expensive sometimes. Okay. So I'm using the tip where you just kind of want to... Oh, that looks like one piece. That is good. I'm liking this. So, yeah, you cannot see the seam very easily. Or you can, but it's not insanely bad noticeable. Yeah, that's basically how you smooth stuff out. Then you just go around, cut off excess. Make sure you get it like perfectly straight like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty close. I mean, it doesn't have to be. This is your model most of the time. I mean, this isn't yours, but if you're following this tutorial, you are probably making a model. If you are Or maybe you're just really intrigued and are thinking of making a model. Or you've attempted to make models in the past. I've been in all three of your shoes, so that is an interesting... Yeah, I know what that's like. So, yeah, it's not hard to do this, but I think it's kind of nice. I cut off the rough edges just so it's kind of smooth. It doesn't have to be perfectly vertical, especially when you're working with curves. Curves can be sometimes a very difficult thing, and no, I'm not trying to flip you off. But the curves are difficult because this can look good, but as soon as you fold it, oh, there's a wrinkle. And it's hard to get curves looking smooth. And smooth is usually a very good thing. Okay, so just so this kind of fits around the peg, I'm going to cut off this back corner here. Like that. See if I can get it focus. No. Here, we'll put it up against something white. Like, right, that back corner there. Yeah, just so it can fit around the peg. Smoothly, at least. Okay, just press down the seam. I'm not going to be using outdoor Mod Podge just because I found that if you apply enough of the gloss Mod Podge that I usually use for my models, you can get a really nice smooth seam with that, but that one has to go on more thick than normally. See what I mean? That's when I say clean off your scissors, that's exactly why I suggest you do that. So I'm going to attempt to just... Cutting off big sections like that is also helpful. Just so you can kind of get rid of most of the bad stuff and then kind of zoom in a way, on the smaller stuff. I hate it when tape gets stuck to my fingers. I just tried to throw that piece of tape away. Okay, back to the tutorial. So I'm trimming it. You want to be careful not to cut the original model. I did that at one point. That's why all these happened. All these things happened because I cut this too thin when I was smoothing it out. So, yeah, but that was no big deal. This is the bottom, so it's not going to be as visible. But yeah, that is smooth. I am liking this. Where's the head? Okay, so you don't, as long as you're careful with the head, you can put it back on the peg just for like test looks. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. I love how this seam matches up with this seam. That was 100% accidental, I swear to you. Now I'm just going to cut this so it matches up with this purely for aesthetics. No, not really. But yeah, this is looking smooth. I'm loving this. So, yeah. Hercules has dust, clay dust on the back of his head. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to slowly remove it. And then put it off to the side. You always want to put the clay up, just so it dries faster. But, yeah. That was smoothing it. Yeah, I'm liking this. It's okay if the peg gets orange or white or whatever color clay you're using. If you notice little bits along the side that aren't straight or curved or perfect, cut those out, just because those will be noticeable, especially when you're feeling the model. But who's going to feel the model through a video camera? I don't know, but I just think it looks better when everything is smooth to each other and right off the edges. So yeah. Oh, something I didn't mention with the superstructure is you kind of want it curved. You can tell it's just slightly curved at the bottom. That is so, because the deck is curved, right? Hercules is a bit of a different situation because it sits in the middle, but there is still a slight curve. Ooh, wait, let's get this shot. I just gotta get this. Ooh, yes. That is a nice model. Yeah, okay. Now that we've got the head and the superstructure pretty much done, the head, I'm going to let that clay dry. The superstructure, I might do some touch-ups around the back corner here. But, you know what? Yeah, let's do those on camera. Jeez, tutorials could be this much fun. I am having a lot of fun filming this, guys. I hope you guys are having fun watching this. Just made the edges smooth, that's all. Yeah. Okay. You do kind of want to get it vertical if it's going to be a slightly visible seam. Just so it doesn't look like a... Because this seam probably looks much nicer than this seam. So, yeah. Seams can look nice sometimes. You can get nice looking seams, even though if you're trying your best, there shouldn't be seams. Or maybe, yeah. So there, that looks much nicer before. That will probably be fixed later. Okay, the superstructure is complete. Yeah. So is the head and the hull. Let's smooth out the hull here on camera. And I'm just cleaning off my scissors so you're not missing anything. When you clean off your scissors, tape will stick to your fingers. It feels really weird. Or maybe it's just me because I haven't worked with tape in forever, so I feel like I'm getting... So it just feels weird. Because, you know, I mostly use hot glue for my models. Okay, so the keel here. And now let's start at the bottom. You want to make sure your tape doesn't roll up on you. And because it will collect other things. Other pieces of cardboard that's laying around. So yeah, just make sure your tape isn't too long that it rolls up on you. Mine is, so I'm just going to stick it randomly to the back. Nope. You kind of want to lead it so it doesn't make a weird seam edge on the bottom here. Like right now. That's the seam edge. And that's a weird bend. When doing some of these models, tape will get stuck to other tape. And you want to be careful with that because you might unstick a very essential piece of tape. So yeah, just be careful. That is, okay, that's good. Okay. Now, come on. Yeah, that's bound to happen at some point, so be on the lookout for that. If you have anger issues, this is going to be a very difficult project for you. Or at least a very difficult part of the project. I'm just making jokes, I'm not being serious. So you kind of want to lead it along to make sure there aren't any more. So make sure tape doesn't stick out on the edge. And if you have a piece of taped in the front, you kind of want to push it out instead of in. Because then that's how you get wrinkles. Yeah, so you see I got wrinkles over here. That's not a hard fix. This, you just kind of hold the back piece of tape, and then you just kind of pull a little bit tighter. You kind of smooth it over like that. See? Much better. And you don't have a tape piece at the bottom. Yeah, that looks much nicer than before. I know I'm doing these out of order to his video, but I think it's okay to do stuff in a different order than somebody else does it, even when somebody else was pretty much the first person to do it. So, yeah, this isn't exactly like, at least I'm hoping it doesn't end up being, but, yeah. If you do have a little bit of a tape edge, just kind of trim it off. Now, this part is weird, because if you remember from Warrior, we need to kind of make this back section slanted and then go down. It's exactly what we're doing here. Now, this tape, it's a little bit wider than most, so you kind of have this weird stick to unstick section here. That's not a bad thing, necessarily, but here's what I do to fix it. Yeah. Okay. I would just kind of cut a little bit here. You want to unstick the tape just a little bit, and you're going to kind of cut in here. Yeah. Just kind of smooth it over. Because then both sides of the tape can go where they want to go, and it still turns out relatively smooth. So yeah, that's the hull smoothening. I'm just going to do the rest of this, because this, you kind of get the process by now, so I'm going to go do that. Be back in a sec. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've smoothened out the rest of the hull. Yeah, not terrible. I did figure out something though. I was leaving tape, trails back here, and that's probably going to be a thing with you guys too, because of the weird V shape back here. Unless you don't do the V shape at all, that's fine. You will have little spaces between the bottom and the tape. That's purely because I didn't do the smooth cardboard over it, tight enough. That's no big deal though, because nobody's going to be looking at the bottom constantly. They're going to be looking at the side and the top. Speaking of the side, I also attempted to do the side of the hull, which actually turned out pretty okay. Yeah, I just cut little strips like this. In fact, I've been saving all of my extra so I can do the inside of the hull here with the, right here, and along the bottom here of the deck. Yes, just so smaller stuff like that. If you don't cut it straight, that's fine. Just kind of fold it over and just make sure it's smooth. Yeah. The keel here is a little bit messy, so that part will probably need a bigger piece. Just do a little square over that. Yeah. So I'm going to do the deck, and I will be right back.